Does the Honor 5X's camera stand up to the other flagship smartphones, or is it even impressive? Well, I'm Nick Ackerman, and this is your full camera review of the Honor 5X. Let's find out. Let's go. So diving right into this full camera review of the Honor 5X, let's speak a little bit about the rear camera on the Honor 5X. This right here is going to be a 13 megapixel camera here with an f2.0 aperture. So it's not the widest. We've seen wider apertures in the LG G4, the Samsung Galaxy series of the world. And here is a flash to go along with it. Flipping it over to the front side of the device, you're going to find yourself a 5 megapixel camera that is actually that is a 2.4 aperture here on the front of this device here. So yeah, let's talk a little bit more now about the software of the camera on the Honor 5X. All right, guys, so let's talk about the Honor 5X in all its glory here. So, it's got the fingerprint scanner here on the back. So if you do tap your fingerprint scanner, you're not going to get to your camera on the lock screen. So if you tap, you're going to go right in to your home screen here. But we're going to talk a little bit about the lock screen. So similar to like an iPhone, the camera is over here on the right side, and you just flick it up and you're in the camera interface like that. Now, of course, if you take a picture and then you try to go into the phone, it's probably going to ask for your password because you're not in the device here. So going through pictures, see, you're going to have to sign in here. So that is something I want to mention there, just because this is a full in-depth review of the camera. So we got to mention every little thing that, I find important for you guys to know if you're going to pick up this device and you care much about the camera, which a lot of people do because this is how we save our memories. So here is the camera icon here, and you can see, let's just show it off a little bit. It's kind of like, the camera icon that we used to have on the old iPhone 4. It kind of looks like that a little bit curved. But let's hop into our camera interface right here. So right out the gate, I'm going to go put it on the, the resolution that it comes out of the box. I do have it on wide 16:9. So out of the gate, it is set to a 4:3 aspect ratio, and that is 13 megapixels here on the Honor 5X. So talking a little bit about the interface, we do have several modes here. We have the good food mode, which allows you to, take more appealing shots of, close-ups on your food. You do have the beauty mode here, which allows you to, add some skin textures if, you don't like the way your face looks, but you could add some, or, you're just trying to touch it up for other things. And you do have the photo here, where you can take photos here really quickly like this. You just tap the thing. And we all know this is basic stuff, but this interface looks very iPhone-like. Let's go into the video mode, and you can see there's nothing really there. Under the time-lapse mode, we can just do our time lapses. And right here, let's check out these filters real quick. Let me zoom out just a bit. We got to get a little bit more of a good look at this. But you can see we do have several modes here on the Honor 5X in terms of its camera interface. Let's talk a little bit more about them. So we do have the Valencia mode. We do have the sweet mode, the sentimental mode. We do have the blue mode, the original mode, the mono mode, which is black and white, vintage, halo, and individuality. So we do have a lot of nice modes here for you guys to mess around with if you were interested in that. And that's a nice touch. What I want to say about this camera so far is that it's a very simple to use camera interface. It's very much like, iPhone out of the box. Now, what I found about this is when you want to start tweaking manual controls, it is pretty simple still if you're into tech like that. But if you're not into tech, there is a lot of stuff that's buried in here in this camera. So up here at the top, we do have our flash here, where you can turn on auto flash, and then you could torch on the back. And let's go to auto here, and let's flip this around, and here is the selfie camera. Hello guys, how are you doing today? And it says right here, look, here when taking a shot to make your expressions look more fully prominent. So this little, slider thing up here. And let's see what this does right here. So this allows you to brighten the scene just a little bit here on the front. And let's go over here into the menu. That's for the front-facing camera. We'll talk more about the front-facing camera in a little bit here. So let's go into the menu and talk about what's in the menu. So if we go into the menu of this Honor 5X, we do have our panoramic modes, HDR modes, all focus mode, best photo, watermark, slow motion recording. And like I say, I'm going to do a whole bunch of, samples at the end of this video showing you real-world uses of these so you can see each one of them. Let's go into audio note, where basically you can, take a 10-second recording, prior to the video. So let's go into best photo. So best photo allows you for your burst mode. So basically this is where you can hold down and you can start bursting. You can see right there, 10 shots. Now I found that, in the original camera interface, where if you go out of this mode, if you go into auto mode, let's go into auto mode real quick. We're here. If you hold this down in auto mode, it doesn't do anything here. So there's no burst mode in auto mode, which is kind of weird, but that's what it is for the Honor 5X's camera mode. HDR panorama, all focus mode just is basically going to allow you to get everything more steady and in focus, as it, pretty much says there. So let's go into settings here, and this is where I think it gets a little bit more tricky for some people who are just, not very camera savvy. So in resolution, you do have several resolutions here. You can shoot in the highest form in a 4:3, which is basically where the black bars on the side get cut off on your camera. 16:9, you can only shoot up to 10 megapixels. So if you're the type of person who likes a widescreen, picture, then the Honor 5X, is not going to be your best, highest resolution for a widescreen picture, as it only shoots in 10 megapixels. But you're going to find out later that this camera does do pretty well here in terms of, just the quality of the photos. Over here, you got 10 megapixels 1:1, 4:3 at 8. So 4:3 at 8 megapixels is like the iPhone 5S, 6 megapixels here on the lowest resolution at 16:9. Let's come out of there and let's look at some other things. So you do have geotagging location, you can see right here. You can prefer your save location to the SD card, which I have it set to. You have perfect selfie mode, you have mute mode, you have audio controls, you have timer, you have touch to capture, you have capture smile, you have object tracking, you have touch and hold shutter button. You could change the shutter button to burst shoot here. So like I said earlier, we didn't have that burst mode when we touch it, but when we enable that mode, like I said, it's a little bit tricky in here. We do have it. So that's why I'm saying, like, it's not super intuitive straight out the box. You got to go dig around and put some settings in there to get this camera to operate at its full potential. We also have volume button functions where you can change between a zoom on your volume button, a focus, and a shutter. I like to leave it on shutter in case I need to do some, shutter shoots from my volume button. Sometimes your fingers are greasy, you got some grease on them or whatever. You just want to use that button. So we also have ultra snapshot here, ISO. So you can go in here and mess with the ISO and white balance and image adjust. And that's cool and all, but I don't like to go into the settings to have to mess with that. I wish they would put it right here, front and center on the screen here. But basically, that's about it here on the rear camera. Let's talk about the video settings. Let's see if we can change some video settings here. So in video settings, you do have the ability to shoot in 1080p stereo sound, 720p, 640x800, QVGA, and MMS for just like some picture messages and stuff of that nature. Now, I only shot in 1080p, the highest resolution, because if I shot in every one of these, this video would probably be an hour long. So we're just going to shoot in the highest resolution, as most people probably will. We have a GPS tag on video, beauty mode on video, object tracking as well on video. So what about that front-facing camera? So if we flip around to the front-facing camera, we talked about that message earlier, brighten it up, we talked about that. You can do a panorama from the front, a watermark, you can do a mirror. So if you just want your mirror here, and this is a kind of a weird feature, but you can kind of blow into the camera here, so watch this. So basically, you can blow into this camera, and it'll fog up. I don't know why I didn't do it right there, but it will fog up, and you got this little mirror mode here. Let's go try that again, because I know that works. I've tried it before. Let's get that working real quick. So if you go in the mirror here, you can go here as well. So if you blow, it should show there, but I guess it's not working here. But basically, it fogs up the mirror there on the front-facing camera, and you could just like wipe it away like a mirror. It does do it. It just didn't want to work for me right now, but that's okay. I still love you, Honor 5X. So let's go to mirror reflection. You got that. Resolution on the front, you can switch between 5 megapixels, 3.8, 3.8M, and 0.3. Now, I don't take a lot of selfies, so you're only going to see a couple of selfies in the video, but I can tell you based on my use cases, this camera on the front is very solid, although it's not going to be mind-blowing. So don't expect the most mind-blowing front-facing camera. Just expect a solid one. I'd say it's better than the likes of the iPhone 5S with that 1.2 megapixel camera, but probably not as good as something like the iPhone 6S Plus and the Galaxy S7s of the world, but very nice for the price. You do have perfect selfie mode, mute audio controls here, timer and selfie window, touch to capture, capture smiles and volume button function. All this stuff basically from the rear camera you could kind of mess with the front camera. So let's talk just a little bit about the gallery. I want to go into the gallery of this device because I think the gallery is so tied in with the camera interface. So let me go here and just kind of show you what this looks like. So you can see here are some shots I took, and basically this is what your gallery looks like. You have some albums over here. It organizes them into albums here on your Honor 5X. And you do have the ability to create new albums down here. And it shows you if you want to create this album and send it to your phone or to your SD card slots. And going back into menu settings, you can hide it. You can go into settings here. And you have the ability to rotate the orientation, show your time, your location, slide up to transfer photos. Going into photos, if we go to menu here, same stuff. We can go into map, and it's basically going to show us in our location albums, basically where we shot our pictures per location. But I talked enough about this camera. It is, a very feature-packed camera. So that's why it took a while to discuss everything. Like I say, the menu settings, you have to dig in there to get the full use out of this camera. Although for point and shoot functionality, it works pretty well to just come out and shoot. Speed-wise, not the fastest shutter I've ever seen, but once again, it's nothing that's gonna, disappoint you in terms of the speed. It's just not no iPhone fast or, S7 fast, but not bad at all here. And also, I want to mention one thing about this camera. This camera is raised. We'll talk more about this in the full review, but this is definitely raised up off the surface of the Honor 5X. So you are gonna lip over here if you want to lay this down on a table. And another thing I want to mention, but we'll talk more about this in the hardware as well in the review. But for this camera review, these are ridged, so it's easy to feel these when you want to go take a picture. But basically, that's going to wrap the interface section of this video up. And now let's get into the actual samples of the video. I'm not going to be talking no more. So if you guys enjoyed this video, please go ahead, click the like button for me. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already for more technology videos. Leave your comments down below on what you think about this camera. Anything else you want to see me improve on future camera reviews. Any questions you got, concerns, leave them down below. We'll get in the chat. Enjoy the rest of this video. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace. Alright guys, so this is the rear full HD recording on the Honor 5X by Huawei. You could check it out. This is full HD and at 16:9 aspect ratio. This is 1080p, 30 FPS. We're going to get closer on a subject here just so you can see the level of detail this camera is able to produce. Let me focus in. That was me touching to focus there, as you've seen. Let me come a little bit closer here to the flower so you can just get a little closer look at the detail you're going to expect. I'm going to touch to focus and bam. So let's go into a shaded area to see how the exposure shifts from the sunlight to the shade, giving you an accurate representation of shifting. So you can see how it did dim quite a bit, but I am pretty impressed with the level of detail it's holding. It doesn't overexpose and shift too much here. So I think you are going to enjoy the rear camera here on the Huawei Honor 5X or Honor 5X by Huawei. Alright guys, you're taking a look at the front-facing camera on the Huawei Honor 5X or Honor 5X by Huawei at the full 720p HD resolution. This is 30 FPS, as you can see right here. I believe it's shooting in 16:9. Let me see if tapping to focus works here on the front. Doesn't look like we have tap to focus, but overall, it looks pretty decent. I'm not going to say amazing, but overall, pretty decent. The day is nice. Let's get into the next shot.